Okay, my YouTube friends, today we're going to go back to the 70s once again, late 70s, 78 in fact, from this magazine right here. And even though it has Zane and Danny Padilla on the front, the articles that both out of this magazine are from Grymko and Mentzer. Now, this is Grymko's records, and they were about the same period of time. They both came on in 70 and went to about 79, 80. And they weren't really vicious rivals per se or anything like that. But this is really just about, and it's both arm routines, and they're just completely one side of the spectrum to the other, and you'll see how that works out. Also, interestingly, this is Mentzer's, and obviously the most obvious difference is that Mentzer competed in the Olympia. He actually won the heavyweight class in 79, and then he came back and got fifth in 1980. There's Mentzer, and you see he's probably they both have really good arms, both like 21 and a half inches at the time of this article writing. But of course, so you have Mentzer, who's Mr. High Intensity, and you have Pete, who's Mr. Volume. So we'll see how that plays out. Pete actually, you'll see him here, he is in front of Gold's Gym. He actually owned Gold's Gym from 79 to 99. So we'll start with the Grymko one to show you the volume training that he does. Another refreshing thing about both of these articles is there's really no ads for Weider equipment. Of course, they're hyping about, Joe's genius in directing them how to train and that kind of thing. But, that's par for the course. So it's talking about that he needs to use peak contractions and needs to do more volume on top of his already high volume. And it's talking about just how muscular he won a lot of most musculars in a lot of his contests, or did very well in that department. He was a big dude, Pete, and especially his shoulders, very broad, thick shoulders. But it's saying here that if he gets, he needs to get a little more ripped is basically, I think, what Joe is trying to say here. And, in the arms and everywhere else. There he is. You can see his shoulders are ridiculous. And he talks about having to be careful doing even like cheat curls, because anything he does like that hits his shoulders, which is kind of interesting. Pete grows with as much as 4 hours of biceps and triceps training twice a week. So the double split where you're doing 2 hours of biceps in the morning, 2 hours of triceps in the evening, and you're doing that twice a week. That is a lot of volume. And you'll see what the difference is when we get to Mentzer's routine. But now he's saying he has to concern himself, and it says he went in 6 months, or not even 6 months, from 198 to 247. Must have been taking a lot of crash weight gainer there, I'll tell you what. Another refreshing thing about Pete is he never made any claims about being drug-free, and I've never heard anybody make those claims about him. And I don't think he ever, was shy about the fact that he was using. How much and what, I don't know, but he was obviously doing something. There he is. His arms are pretty massive. They both do use the preacher curl, the Scott curl, whatever you want to call it. And they both do supersets to some degree or another. And the superset that you'll see mentioned is, or already has, is Grymko does these alternate dumbbell curls supersetted with the Scott curls, one right after the other. And you see, for a guy that big, he's doing 35-pound dumbbells. That's probably later than he usually goes. He's just doing more reps. And he also likes to do forearms immediately following biceps because of the obvious close affiliation between the two groups. He likes doing Reverse curls is one of his favorite forearm things, and he does reverse curls and wrist curls. But Pete seems to think that the reverse curls hit the biceps also pretty well, not just the forearms. And concentration curl is another one, and you'll see in the next picture, I believe, it's Joe directing him on trying to get his pinky to at the top when he's supinating. Not it's the forearm picture. I'm sorry, it'll be another couple pictures maybe, but there he is doing the wrist curls with his hands very close together, obviously. And you can see even this picture that he's got some veins in the forearms. There's Joe, and they're talking about like getting the pinky to hit the front delt at the top of the concentration curl, so you really squeezing that bicep at the top. I'm not sure Pete couldn't have figured that out by himself, but here it is talking about the elbows. Most cases are held as close to the body as possible. Concentration curls being the only exception. On those, he rests his elbow against the knee, etc. So he does 3 sets of bicep curls, and he does like drop sets of those. So and you can see how massive he is here. He's just really a muscular dude, big, pretty ripped. Never quite made. He was Mr. America a couple of times, and Mr. World, I think maybe. But just a massive dude, always was. Good-looking guy too. Did kind of movie star quality. The one thing that they describe as push-ups somewhere is these tricep push-offs, which is kind of like a tricep isolating push-up, where he's not all the way, doing it on the floor. He's like leaning forward against something and doing push-offs with the triceps, which is a little bit unusual. I haven't seen anybody else do that particular exercise. I guess it's something that Pete came up with himself. And he's talking about using the reverse curl with trisets, with reverse curl and forearm curls, and doing like try and bicep curls, regular bicep curls, front reverse curls, and forearm curls as a triple set. There he is doing triceps, obviously, and again, he's got pretty impressive triceps. Pretty impressive overall, really. He's got good abs. He's got the big pecs. He's got it all going on there. But he ends up doing, 35 sets in a couple of different exercise groups, I should say. French press, I don't know what the hell that is, and it shows the start and the top. Again, you can see how massive his triceps are, and they've got those veiny arms. Why this number 2 keeps showing up in these pictures is beyond me. There he is doing those tricep push-offs, as I mentioned, and you can see he's like leaning way forward against the end of a bench, or it looks like a kind of a sideways bench there. And there he is at the top of that movement. And again, you can see his triceps are looking pretty vicious there. So we'll wait to see what comes up. And then, so all tricep movements are done with the palms facing each other and hands as close together as possible to direct the effort to the outer head of the triceps where he needs the most work, because he has wide deltoids. So he needs to get that balance between the two. He is keeping his triceps movements high, 12 to 18 reps, in order to exert a more concentrated effort. Each move an extreme amount of drive. Excited by the newfound possibilities of this new type of training. He locks out the full extension when it feels right. Otherwise, he does 3/4 movements when it gives his triceps a better pump. And you see a lot of guys do that. I noticed even watching some videos with Sergio, he did a lot of shorter range movements. And I think that's just to keep constant tension on the muscle. And it does give you a better pump. Now we're going to move into the Mentzer routine. And he's talking about trying to get his arms that much bigger for the 78 Mr. Olympia. I don't even see that he went in the 78 Olympia on those competition records back there, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. Did go in 79. It did very well. So pretty impressive arm you can see there. Very vascular arm. And as he says here, he had 21-inch arms cold. Of course, he's talking about when you look back at all the top champions, the most common thing that they all have, of course, is big arms. You can't be at the level of, guys like Scott, Pearl, Oliva, Schwarzenegger without having massive arms. And I think Mike certainly has his place there. And there he is again under Hawkeye Joe Weider. Pekin tracks. And that's another thing. They both do. It really just comes down to pose and squeezing your muscles hard, which they call peak contraction training, to bring out even more definition. Here he's talking about Larry Scott, Ricky Wayne, and talking about not everybody can build a 21-inch or a 22-inch arm. You got to have the genetics for it. And he felt like he did, and then he was going to be competing up against Robbie with 22s and Lou with 23s. But Lou's a bigger guy, so it's kind of proportional too. So he's talking about the way he trains arms, and again, it's a much different program than Pete Grymkowski's. So he's talking about that he does arms on Monday and Thursday, and then along with chest and legs, which is a little bit of an unusual combination, but that's just the way he chose to do it. So, of course, he says since your arms are directly involved in, working either back muscles or chest muscles, if you work your biceps, for instance, on the same day you work your lats, make sure you do your biceps after your lats. Otherwise, you're going to not get the best out of your either one, really. Here he's talking about doing drop sets. And he only usually does, after a warm-up set, maybe he'll do like 2 sets at the most, 2 work sets of anything. And he goes to absolute failure. There he is doing the tricep press downs on the lat machine. They call it lat press downs, but it's tricep press downs on the lat machine. I'm just using the cable from the lat machine. And there'll be another angle of this. And then there's lying triceps. I don't know why they call it lying tricep stretch. It's head knockers. It's, lying tricep press. And he brings it, looks like pretty much right over his face, which some people like to bring it further back. But there it is, and it's more in the halfway position. And he likes to do supersets, just like Pete, but not, triple sets. So there's the bottom position of the lat press down. And you can see, Mike's got quite the impressive tricep there. So he likes to work beyond the point of normal failure by doing the superset. Takes you to an incredibly high level of intensity, and you shouldn't require more than 1 or 2 cycles of these 2 exercises. Then he talks about, again, Scott curls, preacher curls for the biceps. There he's doing dips, which, dips is not strictly a triceps exercise, but it certainly hits them well. It also hits the chest. It depends how you lean. The more straight up you are, I think the more triceps it hits. So there he is talking about the concentration curls after the Scott. He does 2 sets of Scott curls, again, both of which he takes to absolute failure, where, he describes failure as not being able to even start another rep, which is a pretty extreme version of failure. There he is again with the concentration curl, just like Grymko did them too. I think all the big guys have done concentration curls. There he is at the halfway position with that. So not a huge list of exercises, a lot less than Grymko. Reverse dumbbell curls, which they don't, for some reason, they don't have pictures of that. They have them doing regular dumbbell curls. But he likes to do that, and he's talking about that Arnold opens everyone's eyes to complete development with the double biceps back shot, where you see these two huge lumps on his arms between the elbow and the bicep. But there he is doing just regular dumbbell curls. And, Mike had a pretty healthy physique and huge arms, even here. And I'm honestly not sure if he ever did get to 22 or beyond. So that's about it for the entire workout for Mike. And you can see what a difference it is. I tried to keep the text slow enough so that you could actually read it, and you could go back and look all you want, and without me jabbering. So I thank everybody. Got a lot of new subscribers lately. I appreciate it really to the max. Thank you for watching. Thanks for hitting the like buttons and for sharing. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope that you do. We're well on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and I hope to keep going beyond that. So again, thanks for watching, and I'm out.